Hey everyone, welcome to the MCP Project Podcast. Today I have an amazing guest. We have Mr. Chris Parente here, and he is one of the most famous news anchors here in Colorado. So, for those of you that don't know, and then a bunch of celebrities and well known people that we all know Chris. Chris makes a good name for himself.
What an introduction. How about making some noise for Chris Parente, the most famous anchor in this county?
Yeah,
Hey, it's a joy to be here. I've known you personally for a lot of years.
Yes.
I've known your other half for a lot of years, and I love what you're doing, so I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you. We're so happy to have you here. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, the MCP Project Podcast is all about mental, physical, spiritual growth. And we just love to share stories, success stories, how we get through life and find that joy, as Chris says.
And if anybody knows about being mental, it's me. I'm totally mental. It's true. I also want to quickly apologize. I thought this was just an audio podcast, so I plan on coming in sweats and and so I got bedhead from a nap I took. I'm not camera ready, but we'll make it do, right?
You look great.
Thank
I mean,
you.
if you did take a nap, you look real
Thank
good.
you. Pay no attention to the line on the side of my face from the nap. It'll go away with time.
You are so funny. So Chris
Ew.
has so much going on in his life. He's a busy guy. He is full of humor, full of joy, full of a lot of things. And we're just going to find out who Chris Parente is.
He's full of it, is what she's trying to say. You heard what she said. No, it's a lot of fun. And I actually accepted, not only because I love you and I love what you're doing, but I do think people don't really talk that much about spirituality or worldview or what goes on within, which is then reflected right without. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. So if you could share with the audience just a little bit about yourself. You've been in the industry, the news industry you've been with KWGN for 20 years?
My 20-year anniversary.
I cannot.
Yeah. I've actually been in TV news my whole life, so since 1993, but I came to Denver 20 years ago and then started anchoring the morning show, CW2 Daybreak.
Ooh.
Yeah, every morning 4:30 to 9. So I've been doing that about 6 years.
Oh my gosh. How is that getting up that early?
I'm used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh over here asked if I took like a little, like any little amp thing. No, I don't take. I did actually. We'll talk about it later. But that's a separate story. I've been getting up early my whole life.
Yeah.
So at this age, it's actually, even on the weekends, I'm still up at like 5:30. I can't help it. So it's not of course I do take naps, as you can tell by my bedhead, but I actually like getting up early because my day's done early.
See, I agree. I'm an early person myself. I'm usually up around 5 a.m. every morning, sometimes a little earlier, but I like to get the start to my day and just have that time before. I always say it's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, you can feel a certain serenity that early hour in the morning. I don't mind it at all. That's true.
I love that. Well, I just wanted to, first of all, introduce you to everybody and then also go into, about your journey in life. You inspire me in a lot of ways. You're so funny. For one, he's hilarious if you haven't already noticed. And the second thing is you're just a very good person. Spiritually, mentally, you're good. I think.
Again, I'm mental.
He puts it on pretty good.
I am mental. Well, thank you for saying that.
No, but you really are a stand-up guy, and I'm just so thankful to have you here. So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, I have my phone, guys, because I have notes. Having somebody like him on, I just want to make sure I kind of stay within the lines. Sometimes I go outside the lines.
Yeah, we're going to go outside the lines today. I can promise you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Chris, what would you like to share today? What is something that's been on that you want to kind of get people to know that people maybe not know about you, and in a sense of outside of news anchor and all of that? Is there something special you would like? This floor is yours. So
wow. This is like speed dating. What would you like? Well, I'm a Pisces. I like long walks. No, honestly, just to get the ball rolling, I think maybe people say, "Oh, you're a TV news guy." And what I hear more than anything else is, "Oh my God, TV news is so depressing. It's so boring. It's so And why? How do you do it? How do you get up every day and anchor the news when all the news is, pardon my French, shit and negative? You can bleep that, sir, or don't." And so this kind of gets to a bigger issue, and you mentioned it in the introduction. Okay, I do believe in levity
Mhm.
and in humor
Mhm.
and in finding joy. So that's what I try to bring to our morning show. And in fact, it was a 5-hour morning show. And trust me, there's a lot of crap news that goes on, and I understand it.
Yeah.
But I leave the show every day at 9 o'clock after we've been on the air for 5 hours thinking, God, I had fun.
I
What a
love
fun
that.
morning. So what's different, right?
Mhm.
I'm reading the same crap, terrible news that all the other guys are reading. But what I try to bring to it is a sense of levity. Now, there's a distinction between being funny and
Mhm.
having fun. Not everybody is funny, and you don't have to try to be funny. But if you approach things from levity, right, which
Mhm.
means I'm here to have some fun, to have fun,
Yeah.
right? Not to be funny, but to have fun, to
Yeah.
experience joy, to experience conversation. So when you watch our show, that's what we bring to it. And it's amazing to me. We'll read the same news as every other guy and gal in town, but I get emails all the time from folks, honest to God, and this sounds weird. I'm big in hospitals. I swear to you, because and it
Love
really
it.
touches my heart. People will write me all the time. I have a stack of letters and I print them out of people who said, Chris, God, I was in the hospital and I had whatever it is. Sometimes it's cancer, sometimes it's something equally traumatizing. And I started flipping on your news and I found that I felt better at the end of your newscast. And you
Aw.
actually got me, you and your team got me through a really serious, dark moment in my life. Now, how did we do it? We're not comedians, we're not giving punchlines, and we're reading some pretty serious stories. It comes to your way of being.
Mhm.
If your way of being is you're here to share joy, laughter, humor, find the silver lining, find the humor in things that don't seem to have a humorous element, you're then like ripples in a pond spreading it out. Does that make sense?
Yes, I
It's
love that.
contagious almost.
Right.
And so I'd say just to kick off the whole show, that's my mission in life at my age. There was a time when I wanted to be super famous and super rich. And right now, my mission is simply, can I raise the vibration of people that I'm around? And we all have that power, okay? To simply can we all agree the world needs to raise the vibration?
Yes.
And I find levity, humor, joking, finding the laughs is a way to raise the
Yeah,
vibration.
it's true. And you do that so well. And I think it's so wonderful that even to have people in hospitals, like you're making a difference just by your energy, just by coming in and having that. And that's why I love you. I love your part. I love Luis. I wish
Luis is my better half.
and I
And
love
he's better
him.
looking too. I wish he were here. He could have filled in
I
for me
told
today.
him to come.
He's also an assistant principal, so he's working with
Oh
kids
yeah,
today. He
that's
can't be
true.
here. And what's interesting to me is this gets into right, what you're doing versus how you're being.
Yeah.
This is, and if you follow any spiritual, a lot of folks I'm not discovering this. It's been talked about a lot, right? What I'm doing is reading the news.
Hmm.
Everybody else does that too. My way of being, I come into the studio, I am going to bring joy and levity.
Yeah.
That's my way of being. And
Hmm.
people pick up on it.
Oh
It's the
yeah.
same thing if you're going to a party or if your friend, those friends when you walk in the room and you feel better just because they're there. They
Yes.
haven't really said anything. It's their way of being.
Yeah.
And so that's my mission, however many years I have left, is to raise the vibration through levity.
I love that.
Yeah.
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 And you do it so well. And I always, when Josh and I know we're going to go and have dinner with you guys or go hang out with you guys, it's just that same thing. We are excited to see you, be around you. It's just fun and it's
Well, thank you.
relaxing.
Thank you. And not to brag on Josh, your partner, but he's a guy too who I feel like uh anytime you're around that guy, he does the Frightmare compound. He's a very successful businessman, but but anything he's ever come to, he comes to it with joy and he
Absolutely.
comes to it with levity. And you kind of
Absolutely.
want to be a part of that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And I don't think there's enough of that. And I've been in the news now over 30 years, and there's people say it's a dying profession or it's a dying medium, right? But I don't think very few morning news programs come at it where this is a chance to actually share laughter, share levity. Because if you're not waking up happy, why even turn on the TV set? Honestly.
Truth.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's so much, you can get your news now on your phone. You don't even need to turn on the TV set.
Right.
So why would you turn on the TV? We try to provide a show, KWGN Channel 2, CW2, weekday mornings, 4:30 to 9, only on KWGN. We try to bring a show that gives you, well, this is why I tune in, because I want to share some levity and some laughter, some humor.
And you're giving people something to look forward to when they wake up. At least when you're consistent and you do that, and that's just your way of being, then when you wake up, you're like, I got to turn this on because I know at least I'm going to laugh.
That's my hope. That's my hope.
Happen and
That's my hope.
Say, but
so my hope is that you leave, that you leave the house in a better mood than when you started. And it's weird that we can do that. Even I know the news is largely scary. There's a lot of scary stuff, but that's another example of how we can do things is, we are all in it together. And so when we come at it together, we realize we can laugh at the commiserate that we're all going through it. Egg prices. Hello. I read somewhere people are now decorating their potatoes instead of, it's cheaper. Don't judge me. I'm going to have a potato hunt instead of an egg hunt. Yeah. Anyway, you commiserate together. So it just creates a community.
I love it.
Yeah, why not?
I love it. I love it. And, it's definitely reaffirming too when you have people in hospitals and just sending you, messages that you made their day. You helped them through a dark time. You've helped them, like you are doing that. And that is,
thank you.
It's rare and it's true. It's helpful.
And I honestly, and you do this well in your life. And this is what I'd say to your listeners and your viewers too, is we can all do it. Okay. We can all do it because I don't mean to sound corny or trite, but how you approach somebody at the grocery store, how you approach somebody at the gas station. Okay. If your way of being is joy, levity, compassion, love, okay, people can read that and it can impact their day. You don't have to be on TV to have that impact.
No, it's very true. It is so true. And we need more of that because we're all looking to, we're all on this journey, like you said, together. We all go through hard times. We all go through great times, but they're not all the same. They're different. But it's all relative. There's something that we each are going through where it's relatable. And if there's someone like you who has joy following him all around, even if you're having a bad day, you still show up and you still put on I want to feel good. I want to make today a good day. I'm going to just put that aside and I'm going to go in today and have the best day I possibly can.
Right. What's the alternative?
I know.
To be a, pardon my French, dickhead?
I know.
I mean, you can be. Or to be a serious, somber, I'm the newsman. You can be that too. I don't think that's genuine. And I don't think it does any good. Now, don't get me wrong. We cover the news very seriously. We got a great team of journalists and we'll read you the news and give you the news in a professional way. But in a larger context, you come at it from what is my way of being and what do I want people to feel like when they've left me?
Yeah.
Okay. And don't we all want people to leave saying, God, I just had a good time. I felt better. I felt better being around this person. And honestly, I'm telling you, you don't have to do anything. This is a big thing with me. And a lot of spiritual leaders will say the same thing. Again, it goes back to your simple way of being. You don't have to try or do anything. But if you're genuinely coming at it from a place of, I want to share joy.
Yeah.
People will pick up on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And this brings me to my next question because you've interviewed so many people, a lot of famous people. And is there one that stood out that was not so joyous?
Oh, look at her go. Here I tell her that we should share levity and joy, and she wants the dirt. Who was the biggest a-hole in Hollywood? Names? I want names.
I think it would be so good.
Well,
because truthfully, when you leave an interview and you're like, wow, that was real. I'm not going to ever be like that, or I don't want to be like that. I think it's just funny to share those types of stories.
Well, now listen, I will say this is kind of low vibration here, dogging on people. So, and I will. I will. Stay tuned.
It's just for the humor. I mean,
I will, and this is the thing. You can if you can laugh even in the face of people who are being dicks, it also disarms them and they lose their power.
It's true.
Again, this is why I'm a huge fan of humor. And to make the distinction, not being funny, having fun.
Exactly.
Okay. So you don't have to be a comedian. You have to come at it that I'm a good experienced levity.
Yep.
I should tell folks who are not familiar with me, I am the biggest news anchor in 2 counties, she says. She said, in a 3-county region, he's the biggest 3 counties, she says. I used to do that. I'm proud of that. I used to do for many years for Channel 2. I would do the celebrity interviews. And so if a movie comes out, I would go to Hollywood and I would sit down with the actors for 2 or 3, very short, 4 or 5 minutes max, and bring the video back and we would do stories. It was a lot of fun. And I did, over that 7 or 8 years, get to meet a lot of celebrities.
Yes.
Okay. So I will tell you, why don't we start with the good stuff first?
Okay.
Probably my favorite celebrity interview, I mentioned this to you before the show, was, hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. I got to interview Kermit the Frog.
That's
This
awesome.
is not a joke. Me one-on-one, me and Kermit. And as a kid of the 70s who grew up with Sesame Street, this was my shit. I love, first of all, you want to talk about way of being and joy? Sesame Street.
Yes.
It's kind of morphed over the years, but in the 70s, the Sesame Street was an amazing thing.
Yes.
So to get to meet my childhood hero, because I love the Muppet Show too. God, I love Kermit. Because think about what I'm saying, right? Kermit brought levity. Okay. And he was compassionate and he was loving and so I walk in this room and there is literally a dude with his hand up Kermit's, right? Because when you're doing an interview with Kermit the Frog, they don't put a curtain around the puppeteer. So you see the puppet. I hate to spoil it for you, but Kermit, there is a puppeteer involved. And I walk in and I see this guy with his hand up, and then he's got the little stick where he manipulates Kermit's hands.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, it's going to ruin it for me. Right? No. The minute the interview started, man, the puppeteer disappears. He is one with, it was incredible.
So
and I'm sitting there talking to Kermit the Frog like he's a real person, because in my mind he is. It was one of the most powerful and to hear him say, oh, hi, Chris. I started crying. Kermit the Frog knows my name. Kermit the Frog. It was wonderful. And you talk about creativity and joy and what Jim Henson manifested.
Oh, yeah.
And the lives, I'm not trying to get deep on the Muppets here, but the lives that he made, transformed and impacted.
Yes.
Through all, that was and Kermit could not, and he was a guy Kermit and his puppeteer, who they improv, they spoke off the cuff, they were in the moment. Kermit the Frog is my number 1 interview.
I love it.
Okay?
I love it.
So now we got the good stuff out of the way. Should I go to the dirt?
I think so.
All
We'll
right.
make it joyous. It's just we're having fun.
Okay, we're having fun while dogging on the character of other people.
Well, it's fun.
I'll say this, first of all, Hollywood actors and actresses have it really hard. In when they're promoting a film, they'll sit down in a room like this and they'll spend probably 9 hours interviewing in a nonstop. The reporters keep coming in. The actor is just sitting there, and they have to act like they're excited, even if the movie's a dog. So I'm not. It's not easy work for them. Right. I would say, having interviewed probably, and I'm not exaggerating, maybe 300 to 400 actors and actresses. The vast majority are really cool people. And I always try to get in a spiritual question too. Because, you talk about, if you want to say, hey, somebody made it, how'd they make it? I want to know what their spirituality is.
Yeah. Same.
What was their spiritual guide? So I always got a good question about that. 99.9% of them were wonderful.
I love that.
Okay. And the 0.5% that weren't, maybe we're just having a bad day.
That's what I was saying.
I'm really stalling, aren't I? Okay, fine. Probably the worst, there's 2 people that I had very bad experiences with, and maybe my energy was off. Number 1 was Justin Bieber.
Really?
Look, this was at the height of, he'd just come into, he's been through a lot, by the way, so I do really have great compassion for him. But I met him when he was he had his movie had come out. He was just peaking, right? He was a young kid, probably younger than your son out there. I think he was, I don't know, 16 or 17. And he was, what do I want to say, 4 hours late to start with.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So Justin, he was a kid. But the funny, you can, by the way, you can Google me. You can Google the clip of Justin and I.
Oh yeah,
He
we'll put that on.
dogged me in the interview, which I thought was, again, I disarmed it by like, I thought it was funny. You know, go ahead, dog me. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, right.
You know, that's funny. But he started like imitating me.
Oh,
You can find the whole thing on, you could clip it in if you want in this podcast.
we need to pull that up. Yeah, definitely.
He said, do you talk like that in real life? I said, what do you mean? Hey, brother, how you doing? And he starts imitating me. He's like, is that how you talk all the time? I'm like, yeah.
Oh my God, we should pull that up.
It's everywhere. And of course, because it was Bieber, it went viral. So, but again, I wasn't offended by it.
Right.
That's, one of my principles is don't take anything personally. So but again, I forgive a lot of that because he was a kid.
Yeah.
He had a lot of pressure. And we now know what that man endured. And I have great compassion for him.
Right.
I think he's really struggling to recover from those years where you get so famous so fast. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I feel like that song he wrote, Lonely. I'm so lonely. That was, I'm not Justin Bieber, but being that famous and feeling so alone.
Right.
I feel like a lot of those people, and he's now goes out and speaks about God heavily and how it saved
that interesting?
him. And yeah.
I mean, I think part of it too is, again, a lot came to him at a very young age and a lot was thrust upon him. And so I nothing but love for you, Justin. Please
we love you, Justin.
Please. the Biebers of the Bieber fans, don't come at me because I really do love them. And ironically.
And he really does talk like this.
Right. Hello, brother. That's how I talk. Oh man, you've got to find the clip. It's everywhere.
Yeah, we'll link it.
If you want to make fun of me, go for it. I'll join you.
I love that
because that's the way we can raise the energy. The other guy it's kind of a musical thing, and this guy I don't quite forgive the way I would forgive a Bieber is Timberlake.
Really?
Yeah. And again, I do think this gets into a deeper practice too of like, we could talk for hours about ego.
Yeah.
Like, are you being motivated by, are you believing what your ego is telling you?
Sure.
Or are you being motivated by something else, by truth, by love? Timberlake was, how do I say it? He was a jerk to me. And it shows if you watch the interview, he was over it. He didn't want to be there. He would shoot down anything I was trying to say. I didn't have a good experience with him. Oh, wow. Could have been me, but those are two that stand out as, but here's the funny thing. Even interviews that go to shit are fun for me because I'm not afraid of failing, right? You embrace that it's failing, right? And it ended up being very funny.
See, I love that. It's all perspective. And I think like that is a great perspective to have. Like it's fun. If you let it beat you down, it's going to beat you down. But if you're like, hey, you know what? They could have been having a bad day. It's pretty funny. Maybe I do talk like that. I like who I am. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I think that's a great outlook though to have. I think
by the way, if I get sued by either of those guys, you'll cover my litigation costs, right? That was part of, I think I signed something about that because I don't want those guys to come at me. I don't got any money, Bieber. Anyway, but that's the thing too, is we talked earlier about like, I spent a lot of time studying improvisation and improv and spending some time at Chicago's Second City, great spot, birth of a lot of the improv greats. And you're taught in improv that there are no mistakes, okay?
Oh, okay.
Anything that is brought to a scene, or you could say in your life, anything that's brought to your life, you're going to take it and you're going to justify it. So that there really are no mistakes. And in fact, oftentimes the biggest mistakes can become the funniest moments.
I love that.
Right. It's a cool thing.
Yes.
It's a cool thing.
That's really cool. So so we got the dirt on the musicians.
I'm going to get sued. I swear to God, you better have the hammer.
You're not going to
I need the hammer on the deck. Is the strong arm. I'm sorry. Somebody. I don't want to get sued, Marisa.
For those of you, if you're wondering who he keeps looking at, it's my better half.
We have an audience just off camera.
We actually really
They're
do.
all dudes, by the way. This is honestly, God,
my son, my
it's
love.
like Duck Dynasty over in the corner. These guys all have beards. It's fascinating.
It's a great crew to look at.
Hey, well, yeah, I suppose.
I love it. But yes, so we had the musicians and they weren't the greatest, a couple of them. Who was one of the, aside from Kermit the Frog, who else is there any other, like, I don't know, because interviewing these people, I would assume might be a little nerve-wracking for most people.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And
We're all getting nervous.
how do you handle that? Like, how do you go into an interview and not word vomit?
Well, did you ever think you'd say, other than Kermit the Frog? I love
No,
that.
I did.
You see,
Didn't, but I
other
love
than
that.
Kermit the, I will say, it, oftentimes if you're nervous, look, it's natural. We all get nervous, no matter what it is. A surgeon, I'm sure, before he goes in, gets a little nervous. But a lot of that is ego, okay? Because you're worried about, am I going to look good? Am I going to make a fool of myself? Me, right? So
Right.
when the older you get, it's easier to sort of put we're always going to battle the ego, but you can put it behind you and let that go, okay? I don't take anything personally. I don't care. It's not about me. So I
Yeah.
would go in the room always hoping for something fun to happen. Are you hoping? This movie was, I think, a great way of sort of introducing.
I have to ask you a question.
Lay it on me, brother.
Do you talk like this in regular life, or is
Like
that only
what?
interviews? Like, hey, brother, how are you doing, Bieber? So, hey, I just want to know, is everything all right with you?
Is that your Parente impression?
That's my impression.
That is the best Parente impression I've ever heard.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Amazing!
Well, you're like a younger version of me, Bieber.
Oh my gosh! I think we should all just do interviews like
It's
this.
amazing.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, this
the
guy
movie
schooled
Never
me.
Say Never is just so amazing. Everything's just incredible. I got to go see all my fans. Everything was just out of control.
You do me better than I do me,
I know,
Bieber.
it's amazing.
Unreal. And so I would either play games with the actors or have questions that could maybe bring out some humor. I didn't care if I messed up, okay? I didn't care if I looked bad, because that's all just my ego saying, right? Your ego is going to tell you shit all day long. You're going to fail. What if you mess up? Right?
Yeah.
If you ignore that and just go in there, that was always my hope. So if I was nervous about anything, I was just nervous. I want this to be a fun experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are, we talked about your way of being.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of compare it to, first of all, I love the image of a lighthouse. First of all, because it's a recovery symbol, and I love what a lighthouse does and what it offers people. And when you get right down to it, a lighthouse isn't running around doing anything. Its way of being, it's just there, the light. Okay. And so people are then naturally attracted to it or saved by it, right? Or they know where they are because they've seen your light.
Yeah.
So for me, like a cornerstone of my whole life has been the image of the lighthouse. Just simply, can I stand and shine my light, and people who need it receive it and they feel it. And so a lot of these actors, it's the same thing. I'll walk in a room and I feel them. I can feel the energy, right?
Yeah.
They haven't said a word yet. They're the lighthouse. They're beaming out their light.
Yeah.
Again, you don't have to do anything. Your way of being can change the world. Now, a lot of actors that I have interviewed had that light. I walk in, I feel right. Oh God, I'm home. In particular, believe it or not, well, you probably would believe this, Robin Williams, who sadly had his own demon. Robin Williams, the minute I walked in the room, I'm like, oh my God, this is epic. I knew
cool.
and his light was so strong and vibrant. You just got sucked in.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that interview went way off we went into some really weird places, and I loved it. It was his movie. I got to meet Robin Williams, of all things, not for one of his great movies, but I think he was a voice in Happy Feet 2.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't. And I'm like, hey, I don't care. If I get to meet Robin Williams, I don't care if it's Happy Feet 2. He had it was every bit as joyous as you would have expected. Cher, I've got to talk to Cher a few times. She has the light. Like, you'd have a lot of reasons to be nervous walking in with Cher. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Her light right away. You're put at peace. You know it's going to be fun.
It's funny you say that. Cher, whenever I look at her in an interview or movie or whatever it was performing, she has kind eyes. Like her eyes, she just looks like a very soft, peaceful person. Like I have never met her, but I always felt like she just looks so kind, and she could I don't know. I always thought that about Cher. It's interesting.
Well,
you
and she's
brought
got a
her up.
great sense of humor too.
That's
And I don't
awesome.
think she takes herself too seriously. That's another, again, like the ego is going to tell you to take yourself seriously. She doesn't. She was wonderful both times I talked to her. I had a lot of fun.
I love that. That's so great. And so for those of you that don't know, I don't imagine too many would know this, but your first job, you were telling me your first job you ever worked at was Disneyland,
A Disney World.
Disney World. See,
Yes.
whoops.
It's a small world after all.
It
I have been,
is.
I loved it. I was in college and I was pursuing I knew I wanted either to be a lawyer, an actor, or a broadcast journalist.
Wow.
If you think about it, there's a lot of common elements in those three things. And so I got the opportunity to go down to Disney World for their college program.
Cool.
And yes, that was my first, here comes the paycheck. I was a busboy before that, but Disney World was more fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was crazy down there. Now listen, I'm definitely not going to say a damn thing about Disney World because they do have lawyers and they will sue me. So we'll do the uncensored Disney podcast down the line. But it was a lot of fun. I was a tour guide at now they call it Hollywood Studios, but back then they called it the Disney MGM Studios.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
really?
Oh, the things I saw in honest to God behind the scenes
Was
in
it
the tunnels
cool?
of Disney. Oh my God. Curl your toes.
Oh,
Can't say a thing. They will sue me. They will sue me. Mickey, it means business. You know it's
I love it.
nope. I'm not going down that road.
I love it. Mickey means business. So we won't get into the deets of Disney
But
other
it was
than it
fun.
was.
And, it does even tie in a little bit because I know people can dog on Disney World and there are like those people that are totally into it,
Mhm.
but it does get into what I'm talking about, levity and joy. You ever been to Disney World? Like
Yeah,
these people, I know they've spent like what, 20 grand to go there.
I know.
But
It's
they're
crazy.
there's something about the energy of that place that lifts you.
It's
And
true.
and I would see so many kids who were in seriously ill in wheelchairs, children, and they were, I don't know how to say it, almost it was like a rapture. They were able to experience joy, and their parents that were with them, joy. And it did inform me. Maybe that's why I'm like I am. Like at 19 years old, I was at Disney World where there was this expectation that everybody was going to be there to lift spirits,
Yeah,
to lift the energy of the joint.
I love that
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a little bit similar to Christmas. I think around the holidays, for the most part, holidays can be a pretty sad time too, but for the most part, I always loved Christmas because of the caroling and the lights and like having that just wherever you were, if it was that time of year, it just seemed that energy, it just seemed everybody was uplifted and wanted to do fun things together, brunches, family dinners, whatever.
I am also a Christmas freak.
I love
I do love the holidays, and I agree with you. Would you like to go caroling this Christmas?
Yes, can we?
I swear to God, for the last 10 years, I've been trying to get Channel 2 to have a daybreak caroling group where
I'm in.
all of our on-air people get together. I want to have the top hat
Yes,
and the bonnets
yes,
looking like Charles Dickens,
yes.
and I want to go caroling.
I do too.
Yes, okay, we'll
I'm
do
in.
it this Christmas.
Well, let's get Josh to do it too.
No, I've heard the man sing. No. We don't want to scare the kids at Christmas.
God, he's pretty good at scaring, so we'll leave it
he's
at that.
But you know what? Honestly,
He's
what
so
Josh
joyous.
does, can you pop in real quick so people can see what you look like?
Yeah,
Yes, stick your head get in here.
just come in.
Just stick your head in this camera here, over here.
Oh, here I am.
That's what we're talking about. He's, by the way, the king of Halloween, but
He is.
which is another. He brings a lot of joy to people in life.
He
Believe me, even
really-
Halloween can.
He really does. I think that's one of the main things of why I fell in love with him. He honestly has a heart that is, it's very rare to find, and he
Yes.
does lift people up, and we bring Halloween and we do a thing with like raising spirits, lifting spirits,
Right.
as you know, and it's
Right? Isn't that
it's to
cool?
help those children and to
You
help
got
people.
Halloween costumes, to a bunch of kids.
Oh yeah, it's
It's
so
really
fun.
cool what you guys
So,
do.
But
Yeah.
it's just about that time of year. I just love it. So we're gonna go caroling.
All
So
right, put it on the books. We'll do it for sure.
yeah.
And I do. I think it gets down to, and I'll say it. if there's one takeaway, is what is your way of being?
Mhm.
Okay. So, if you have that joy, if you have levity, compassion, love, that alone can change the world. Okay. You don't have to become a activist and march on Washington or go be elected president and change. There's a philosophy, having studied for a lot of years and learned from my mistakes, of um, fixing or focusing on what's within. Okay. We're in a mirror universe. So if you want world peace, where do you start?
Yep.
Within. In
Mhm.
fact, there's a whole school of philosophy that believes, like, as long as there's conflict within you, there will never be world peace. And that you could create world peace simply
Mhm.
by truly finding peace and forgiveness within. So it's an inside job, is what the old bumper sticker says, right?
Yeah,
It's an inside
it's
job.
true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's why when Josh or you or somebody, we walk in a room and they lift your spirits, it's because inside they've done the work to create that peace or joy or humor within,
Yep.
you know?
I love that, and it's so true. Everything starts from within. I
A
mean,
100%.
it really
A
does.
100%. You can focus externally. I want this. I want that. I want to do this. I want to accomplish that. Um, it all starts with just where you're at internally. And if that can get squared away, truly squared
Mhm.
away, not spiritual bypass, not just, oh, everything's fine, but you're truly at
Yeah.
peace, that can then be reflected in the world that you see.
It's that I couldn't agree more. Kind of wanting to go into the 12 steps you were talking about earlier, like how that helps, like you're very passionate about, is it the 12 steps?
Yeah, recovery for
Yep.
sure. I make no
And
secret about that.
I I really love the transparency with that because I feel like I had to recover from a lot of traumatic things from, in my life, and I had to get myself in a place of really just honing in on what is the root so I can fix that and I can be my best self. And so if you wouldn't mind, I just love that about you. If you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your.
I would love to. In
Yeah.
fact, that's kind of become one of my passions, is, spiritual lessons will present themselves to you when you're ready for them and at the right time.
Yep.
So, I know a lot of people I talk to kind of feel spiritually lost, and that's understandable. Don't worry. The lessons come to you when you're ready to accept them and as you need them. So
Yes.
I would have never
Yes.
thought that my one of my biggest spiritual awakenings would be the fact that I was addicted to crystal meth. That doesn't seem like a spiritual route. I
God,
don't
I
think
love
that WWJD, not meth. Okay, not meth. But years ago, and the reason I can talk and have fun about it is this has been, I've been sober since 2005.
Oh, that's
But there was a period in
wonderful.
my life when I was working, and I was actually on the air at the time, where I got hooked on
Yeah.
crystal meth, and it got ugly. It got real ugly, and it was through recovery that, like, a whole set of spiritual practices and lessons were revealed to me. If anybody out there either has a loved one or you're going through it, I'm a huge advocate for the 12-step program.
I love that.
And a lot of the bumper stickers you see, like, oh, that comes from 12 steps. One day at a time, 12-step. Easy does it, 12-step. Let go, let God, 12-step. The serenity prayer, 12-step.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
it goes a lot deeper than bumper stickers. It's a lot of work, which is why I like the 12 steps. It's a framework of really, I think, a way to live your life. And I couldn't anyway go through the 12 steps with you, but I wish we all, because everybody in their life has some sort of an addiction or a challenge.
Mhm.
The 12 steps is a whole framework on uh, how to not just get through it, but to rise above it. And to this day, I still sometimes will work the steps. I don't do it. I don't go to meetings anymore. I don't actively take inventory and all that, but I
Yeah.
will sometimes still read over those 12 steps. It was a huge shift in my life. And probably if you back up from the 12 steps, I
Mhm.
don't know if you listeners and viewers are familiar with them or not. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it has saved so many lives. And probably at the core of it, I mean, each of those 12 steps is very important.
Right.
But at the core of it is an admission or an acknowledgement that there is some force greater than you at work.
Mhm.
Now, it doesn't have to be God. It doesn't have to be Jesus. It doesn't have to be Buddha. It can be whatever your God as you envision him, okay? Some people just say, I don't believe in God. It's my higher self,
Mhm.
whatever. It starts with an acknowledgement that there's something more than just you at work in the universe, a higher power. You'll hear higher power talked about constantly in recovery circles and 12-step circles. That was a huge moment for me because it allowed me then to come to a belief that the universe, God, is working on my behalf
Yeah.
and that I can let go, let God.
Mhm.
Everybody says that comes from the 12 steps. So it allowed me then to understand that I don't have to do it all on my own. For an addict, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where your ego says, oh, I can quit anytime I want. You come to a place of understanding there's a higher power. I can surrender. And this is, if you said you're a Christian, and Christians this would be familiar to you.
Yes, it
Give it
is.
up to God.
Yeah.
Okay, God is my co-pilot, whatever you want to say. It allowed me to understand, and I do believe deeply in a higher power, that I can surrender to that higher power, give it up to the higher power, and trust that the universe has got my back.
Yep.
Okay, even if it doesn't seem like it in this moment, big picture, yeah, I do believe the universe has a plan. And the universe, all of this we're experiencing is for our own betterment, to learn and to grow, and the universe has got your back.
Absolutely. I love that so much. Coming from being divorced and really not knowing how to cope with the trauma,
Mhm.
I did myself cling to alcohol for a while there to numb that pain or mask
Sure.
that pain. And it was by the grace of God. I couldn't have done that on my own, just stop. I had to get real. It got pretty dark for me too.
Yeah.
But I realized that wasn't who I was. I was going through a very hard time and I was able to get beyond that. But by the higher power, I could, doing it alone is I don't know. I don't know how, but like knowing that you can let go and let God and give it to the greater power, it takes so much pressure off yourself of trying to meet a bar or standard that you just know you couldn't possibly meet. I mean,
Mhm. It's
so
a
I
lesson
love
for
that.
anybody. You don't even have to be an addict for it. It's funny you mentioned grace because, like, that's another thing. It's a huge thing in the 12 steps. Is the song "Amazing Grace"
Yeah.
has almost kind of become like an anthem, and I do believe in grace. And it's funny, like you've been through divorce and battles with alcohol. I've been through a lot in my life, but probably the worst of which was my addiction. But when you back out and look at your life, right? Then you look at like the shittiest moments. God, why did that have to happen?
Yeah.
Now you say, oh, I know exactly why.
Yeah.
Huh? Why did I doubt God? The things that are thrown in your path that in the moment you're like, oh, this is God.
Oh, yeah.
Every one of them in my life, I look back. If that hadn't happened, then these things wouldn't have happened, and I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful way.
It
I
is.
absolutely love that. Was like a huge part of my life, still is.
I agree. And that's why I love that saying. There is real, true beauty is in the broken. It's like, it's true. Like you do find the beautiful pieces from the brokenness. And it's crazy because you wouldn't think so. But I mean, the
Oh, no,
outcome.
I know you're a country girl. We're going to sing, God bless the broken road. Isn't that a song?
It is.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It
And
really
it's so true. In fact, I always think, God, I wish I could go back and this is going to get really weird. Sometimes I do. I whisper to myself from when I was an addict,
Mhm.
like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to make it. And then I wonder if maybe my addict self hears that. And that's
Mhm.
why I got through it.
Mhm.
Does it seem like I'm smoking pot right now? That's a little out there. It's a little out there. I'm just saying, yes, you're right. The broken road.
Well, I think that we all talk to ourselves, Chris. You're
Well,
not
I
the
just
only
feel
one.
like, don't you think, God, because that's a common question. What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
well, I'll sometimes say, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Quit sweating it. Quit trying to control everything. Let go of the need to control.
Yeah.
Trust the higher power.
Yeah. I agree. I love that. And I just am so grateful you came on today. Truly, we love our conversations outside of this. They're a little more R-rated, but they're fun, you know.
Oh, yes, that's the uncensored version.
You guys have to get with Chris Uncensored. It's great.
And that's the thing too, is like, I just don't have the older I get, and that's probably my advice to anybody who out there is, how do I succeed in my career? Or how do I make it my career? I think a big thing is getting rid of your ego. And this, whether you're Christian or Jewish or Buddhist, all of the faiths will say the same thing, right? Your ego is what's keeping you. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's the voice in your head telling you either you're not good enough or you need to do this, right? If you can get beyond it, not worry about your ego. I don't care if people make fun of me. I'll make fun of myself. That's a big step.
I love
A
that.
big step.
It is. It is. And so, Chris, where can our audience find you? They're going to watch this and they're probably loving every moment and want to see more of you and he's on the morning show. But if you could tell our audience where they can find you,
Well, I'd be glad to, Marisa.
Okay, thank you.
It's KWGN, CW2, Colorado's first and oldest television station. It's every morning, 4:30 to 9 a.m. And I do hope, I encourage people, like, take the remote, flip around, watch the other guys and see how they make you feel.
Mhm.
And then give us a shot. We also, of course, stream our show live on the website and on our app, so you can watch the show streaming every day. And we're big on social media, KWGN Channel 2 on Instagram and Facebook. Just give it a shot and see if you feel a little better after having watched us for a week.
Absolutely. Well, you guys heard it from Chris. You know where to find him. We're so thankful we got to have you on and go down little Chris memory lane. This is awesome. And and actually develop some tools and techniques on how to get through the hard times. So thank you so much on everything today.
My pleasure, girlfriend. I love you.
I love you
And
too.
again, if I get sued by Bieber, it's coming out of your checkbook, okay? Thank you. Thank you.